just finishing up my makeup. I wanted to do like a get ready with me, but then I realized I don't know how to put on makeup. And so there's no way that I'm going to show the world how I put on my makeup. Anyway, the point of this is to tell you that I saw somebody on the internet that asked AI, artificial intelligence, to make them a menu and a grocery list for certain parameters, and it did it. And I thought, oh, I could totally do that. I want to do that because my husband is always complaining that we spend too much on groceries. He doesn't go to the grocery store. He doesn't quite understand how much it actually costs to go. But in reality, I think he has some really solid points. He says we have enough food in this house. He's fairly right about it, that we do have a lot of food in our pantry. We have a full deep freeze. We have a pantry full of like pastas and rices and flours and stuff, and then we have canned goods. So really, if things were to go really south, as long as that deep freeze didn't go out, I think we'd be fine for a long time. But the problem is that whenever I go to the store to get like milk and cheese and sour cream and bread and things like that, I end up buying extra stuff. And then our budget goes out of whack. Or when it's time to go restock the freezers and things like that, then he's just like, why are we spending so much? Because let's be honest, he could put frozen burritos, ketchup, cheese, bologna, and some bread in this house and be content all year long and never want for anything. But that's not realistic because he doesn't live by himself. He lives with me and 3 others. So in order to try to reduce our food bill, try out a new method, and use up some of our stuff in our house, I went online. I asked AI if they could create me a menu and a grocery list also. And I put some parameters on one: meals for 2 weeks for 5 people for under $250. And what I wanted was one big supper a day, a basic breakfast, and then snacks, because we don't need to be eating lunch. It's wintertime. We're not moving around. We don't need to be eating 3 square meals a day in this house. And I think that makes sense for a lot of families. Kids are in school, people go to work, you can take your leftovers for your lunches, stuff like that. So that is what it came back with. I also gave it other parameters saying, the kind of stuff that we prefer. Like, I don't really love pork, except for I do love bacon. We're more of a beef family, less of a chicken. If we have chicken, we want it to be pre-cooked or frozen, because I don't like handling raw chicken, just because it was like a pregnancy thing. It just like, yuck. Anyway, I can. Where there's a Jill, there's a way. But anyway, so it came back with a menu. Kind of bland, to be honest. Not that exciting, but it gave me a budget of $250 for 2 weeks for 5 people for exactly what I asked for. A lot of beef meals. I don't think there's a single one in there of chicken. But I thought, where did they get their prices from? And so I made a spreadsheet and I listed out all the items that Grok is who I use, which is on the X platform. I listed that out and said, okay, here's the prices that they say everything should be. And it was $253. Totally makes sense. So then I went over to Walmart and I just loaded up my cart and I added up all the individual things, and it was $141. And then I went over to my local grocery store, that Main Street Merc. Remember I went to that grand opening and stuff? Well, they happen to be the only one around here that has an online anything. And so I went onto their shopping cart and online, and I filled that up with the stuff that I needed. And it was only $9 more. It was like $150. So already, even shopping local, I'm $100 less than what Grok said I could do, which seems crazy that I could feed a family of 5 for 2 weeks for $150. So then I went one step further, because my husband says we could eat out of this house forever and ever and we would be fine, and I'd never have to go to the grocery store again, except for the whole milk and cheese thing. But anyway, so I went ahead and I shopped our pantry. And I figured out that we had ground beef and we had some of the canned goods. And of course we have all the seasonings, and it was asking to buy like a thing of vegetable oil, which I will use bacon grease to cook in. So anyway, so that got my bill down to about $100. It was $101, but I did buy some extra onions because I wasn't sure which color I wanted to cook with. So technically it was $101, but really it was $100. So that now has our grocery list for the next 2 weeks down to $50 a week for 5 people to eat all week for $50. So last night was our first night, and we did beef burritos with a side of rice and beans. I'm not a big fan of rice. I had to buy the rice because we don't really keep a lot of it here. Apparently I bought the wrong kind of rice. I bought white rice, which maybe I should have bought jasmine rice or maybe a Spanish rice. But it was very bland to me. My husband is excited. He loves rice. He just loads it up with butter and is happy, happy, happy. But I just went ahead and put the rice inside my burrito. It was very fulfilling. Life was good. And we even had company over. We had an extra person at the table. And so we actually fed 6 people with those burritos. We didn't have any sides necessarily besides the rice and beans, and we didn't have any fruit. But we're not really side dish family people anyway. So the arrangement of how they have the food is very similar to where we would normally cook anyway, with the exception of it just kind of is very not exciting. But I don't know, outside the parameters, maybe if I wasn't doing an internet challenge, I could spice these things up and make them much better just by adding in stuff that I already had in my house. The thing is that I will feed my family off of this list for the next 2 weeks. Here's another thing. It repeats itself. So the first week is 6 meals, 7th day, leftovers. The second week is same 6 meals, last day, leftovers. So it's going to be redundant. So it's not exactly exciting. But if you're on a budget and you could feed yourself for $50 a week, or let's say it's the 150 is what I came up with my local grocery store. So that's $75. If you have nothing in your pantry, that's $75 a week. That's pretty good, isn't it? I feel like I spend a whole lot more than that at the grocery store, because that would put you at $300 a month grocery bill. That's like pre-2020 prices. So I don't know. Anyway, so follow with me. I'm going to make the meals. I'm going to try to make them exciting, or make the videos exciting, even though the meals are kind of bland. But the important part is that you give you some ideas of things that you could cook that will keep your family full, keep your family going, and not break the bank, because things are hard. Times are hard. Money's hard to come by. Things are expensive. Let's eat cheaper than we need to.